That's true of so many things that I haven't had an opportunity to ever participate in because they're all virtual now.
Yeah.
But what institute is it?
Victory Institute. The Victory Institute is an LGBTQ C3 and C4 combination of things. So they do some issues things. They do some C4 work with candidates.
Okay.
You pick up anything good, you need to share it with us, really.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure I'll pick up some good stuff. I get to go to the electeds meeting, which is cool. It's a 3-hour session, and it's like we all get to kind of mingle and talk to each other and do different breakout things like that as leaders. So it's a 3-day thing. So they've got different speakers from all over the world, actually. So
what kind of virtual format are they using?
know that the elected thing is by invite only. Doing that via Zoom because they need breakout ability and stuff. But a lot of these others, I'm assuming, will probably be through like maybe a Mobilize Me type of app or something like that they'll have set up.
Has anyone ever participated in the Run the World app instead of Zoom? It's kind of cool. It just gives you a lot more options of moving around between what's offered at a conference.
Does it work on Windows and iPads?
Yep.
Around
we did
the
it
world?
for the Wisconsin Public Education Network Summit this past, well, it would have been even this summer, in August, and it worked really, really well. It was really fun.
How many breakouts could you have at a time?
Several. I mean, you actually could run maybe 6 or 7, and then people really could go from one to another, ask questions. It was all, we were able to do activities between. We had a comedian, breakout rooms if you wanted to meet with certain people, certain parts of the state. It was really fun. The day went by so fast.
Chris, tell me more about the breakout rooms. Could you choose where you wanted to go, or did you have a moderator that was only able to put you in different breakouts?
No, you actually could you could pop in and out. The people that were running or doing the breakout could see you were there. You could hand a mic off to people that were in the room with you, do interviews, ask questions. It was very interactive. You can look at it. It's called Run the World. It took a while for us to set it up and get it going, and we had to monitor stuff, but it worked well. I enjoyed it. Plus, at some of those virtual conferences, you get people presenting that you would never get them to come to Eau Claire, and that's what was so fun about this. Yeah. Anyway, I'll be quiet now.
Who's that running the world?
It's a meeting app like Zoom would be, but it's called Run the World.
Oh, okay.
Should have bought stock in Zoom though, huh?
Wasn't it nice they gave everybody limited time over Thanksgiving? I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
Hi, Connie.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
How's everybody in your household?
We are both fine.
Oh, good.
Calvin was bummed he didn't get any turkey.
Oh, probably smelled pretty good to him, huh?
Well, he didn't even smell any.
Oh.
Being in a vegetarian household, you just don't have to deal with those things.
Well, I think he would have been tempted if there'd been
I'm sure he would have. Yep. It's one of those days when he curses being with a vegetarian.
Let's see.
Hey, Chris, I just messaged you like some links. Take a look at it now if you want.
Troy, I saw that. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Supervisors, it is now 7 o'clock. I call to order this regular meeting of the Eau Claire County Board of Supervisors on this Tuesday, December the 1st. The next item on our agenda is honoring the flag. Please unmute for a moment. Unmute. Thank you. We'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag
to the United States of America,
of America
States of America.
And
the
to
Republic
the republic
for which
and
stands
one
nation,
nation under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
indivisible,
for all.
liberty, and justice for all. Justice for
Next,
all.
a moment of reflection by Supervisor Bates.
To say,
Yeah, I'll keep looking here too, but we need that.
I think it's Supervisor Bates. Nick,
he said Colleen.
oh, thank you.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. In a recent experience, I had the opportunity to read a book by Parker Palmer. It's called Healing the Heart of Democracy, The Courage to Create a Politic Worthy of the Human Spirit. I saw a great example of that today as people met from all over the state of Wisconsin to talk about some of the issues within their human services district. It was certainly informative, but more than that, it demonstrated the best of who we are. Palmer speaks over and over again of the heart of democracy, the heart of democracy being we. As we take up our agenda this evening and look at the issues before us, it's never an I issue. It's always a we issue because we represent the individuals who indeed would like us to care for things that are involving the common good. So hopefully as we go through our agenda, we will remember to keep the courage to create a politic worthy of the human spirit. Thank you.
Supervisors, I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble with my audio. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you. So I'm not sure how to proceed. I'll try to fly blind here. Clerk Loomis, please call the roll.
Supervisor Gibson,
Present.
Supervisor McKinney, I see McKinney on, so I'm going to consider her present. Supervisor Knight,
Here.
Pagonis,
Here.
Anton,
Here.
Zook,
Here.
Pilson. I did see that Chilson was on earlier too, so I'm going to consider him present. Stelgis,
Here.
Maury,
Here.
Coffee, Henning,
Here. Here.
Bates,
Here.
Russell,
Here.
Gatlin,
Present.
Smyers. I'll consider him on even though he might not be able to hear me. Hambick Boyle,
Here.
Neiman,
Here.
Dunning,
Here.
Wilkie,
Here.
Anderson,
Present.
Beckfield,
Sup?
Schneider,
Here.
Leary,
Here.
DeLuca,
Here.
Jansen,
Here.
Schroffnagel,
Here.
Roberts,
Here.
Cronk,
Here.
Christopherson.
Here.
Again, I saw her on earlier, so I'm going to consider her present. 29 present, no absence.
Clerk Loomis, have you finished?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Vice Chair Bates to take over for a few moments. I'm going to go out and come back in. So Supervisor Bates, will you pick up, please?
Yes, I will. I'm looking at our next item on the agenda. It is the approval of the Journal of Proceedings from November 4th. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Leary.
Motion by
Second
Leary
by Schneider.
and a second by Snyder. Are there any corrections or additions to the journal?
Vice Chair Bates, this is Janet.
Yes.
I do have an editorial correction I'd like to state.
Thank you.
On Resolution 2021-088, in the votes on the roll call votes, I have Supervisor DeLuca listed as a yes and a no, and it should just be listed in the no's.
Thank you for that correction. Are there any other corrections or additions? Hearing none, I will do this by voice vote, so please unmute. All in favor of approving the Journal of Proceedings, please indicate by aye.
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 Those who do not approve, by nay. And the Journal of Proceedings are reviewed and passed.
Supervisor
The next
Bates.
item on our agenda is public comment. And Samantha, do you have anyone lined up?
Yes, I believe Clerk Loomis has 2 public comments.
Are they on the phone or are they to be read?
This is Clerk Loomis. I have one to be read, and the other was supposed to be on the phone. So I don't know if Samantha, do you see them?
I'm here.
Okay. Would you like the one that's on the phone to speak? Oh,
Why don't you let the person who is on the phone speak
okay.
first?
Is this Mr. Hilder Dick?
Yes, it is.
Okay, go ahead and speak, please.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Bill Hilgedick, and I am the chair of the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport Commission. I'd like to provide an update on the petition for the airport improvement aid that is in your packet this evening. As requested at your October 16th meeting, we scheduled a second public hearing on this matter with the goal of receiving more input from the public and those living close to the airport. To do this, we noticed the meeting in the Leader Telegram. We emailed the president of the Neighborhood Association, posted on the airport Facebook page, and listed it on both the county and the airport websites, as well as had signage at the airport. We made efforts to include as many people as possible to make this entire process as transparent as possible as well. We held the public hearing on November 17th. And that evening we had 7 people that spoke. 2 expressed concerns with the project details, locations of the hangars, and were not in favor. 1 expressed significant concern of CARES money should not be used and be spent for airport development. 4 expressed support for the projects and for economic development at the airport. Just as a little bit of background, we are honored to have been selected to receive these CARE funds for economic development. Allocations were determined based on a number of factors, with the greatest amount of money awarded to those airports that maintain a low debt to cash ratio and have a history of fiscal responsibility. Currently, hangar space at the airport is in demand. We currently have a full occupancy, and we have a waiting list that we maintain in case anything opens up, but there is high demand. New hangar construction at the airport would meet this demand that we have. Adding a new hangar now certainly will have some of the short-term economic benefits of creating jobs, but for us on the commission, we're looking at it also through the long-term goal to reduce county funding for the airport. Our primary project is the construction of a corporate hangar on the north side of this airport. This has been a project that has been under discussion for quite a while and would have required borrowing to complete, which was slowed us down in our process. Now with the CARES funds that are available, we can certainly move forward and complete it. With that said, we need to come to terms and agreement with all parties, and we expect that to happen. If for some reason we are unable to come to terms, we would certainly pursue building a few of the smaller hangars on the south side that are mainly for smaller private aircraft, not jet, pardon me. On behalf of the Airport Commission, I would ask that you affirm the resolution so that development can move forward at the airport. Thanks.
And then would you please read the other comment?
This is Janet again. I do have one to read, but I thought somebody else spoke up. Samantha, is there someone else on to speak?
This is Rick Bovee. I'm also a commissioner on the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport, and I did send in the written comments. Are those the ones you're referring to?
I do not have written comments from you.
Okay. Maybe I did something wrong when I submitted everything, and I thought I had requested to be speaking on the public section. So
go ahead and speak then.
Okay, well, I just wanted to share also, I'm on the Airport Commission, been on the Airport Commission since 2009. Again, my name is Rick Bovee, representing Chippewa County. I am a private pilot. I've had a plane at the airport. I've also had it at Wausau and Cross airports. I've been flying personally and for business purposes. I know the value of flying. From 2005 to 2010, I owned and lived in a house on Rivercrest Drive, which is within a quarter mile of the airport. And I bring this up because there were some concerns made at the public hearing about it'd be nice if people lived next to the airport who were on the commission who understood the impacts of the airport. And I did for 5 years, and I had no problem with the traffic that was there. The person who bought my house told me 2 years later that he had no problem with it. I'd like to just make sure everybody, from my point of view, the airport provides a real significant value to the community. We do a great job of keeping it maintained, long-term projects. We think seriously about the impacts locally. We have a long-term plan that supports aviation-related businesses and planes, and the goal is to keep the business planes to the north and away from residents as much as possible. Smaller planes, which are less disruptive on the south side. At some point, we're going to get there. We do care about the airports. Since joining the airport, or the airport residents nearby, since joining the commission under charities leadership, we've strived to keep our neighbors informed. We've gone and done more public hearings than we ever had prior to that. And I know because I was on the Airport Commission in the late 90s, and there were a lot of problems. But I believe we've done a great job of trying to keep everybody informed on what we're doing. And I repeat, living near the airport, I've never had any problems with disruption from it. There was more noise from the river, honestly, from the traffic on the river, bullets running up and down the river with loud engines and that kind of stuff than I heard from the airport. So some brief comments on this. I'm proud to be a part of the commission. I think our airport is a proud addition to the community. It really provides a real value economically. And we are concerned about our neighbors and what they think. But for the overall general benefit of everybody, we do what we think is best for the community. That's all I have to say. Sorry.
Samantha, is there anyone else to speak? I do have a comment that I do need to state if there's no one else
You know, I did not receive any other requests.
Thank you. This statement is from Glory Adams. She states, I would like to thank the Budget Committee for the many hours they have given to create a budget for 2021. It is a huge task. I also thank all department heads for their input and the county board members for all their time spent studying and evaluating the budget. I greatly appreciate all your efforts. There is no other public comment that we are aware of. I don't know if we lost Chair Smyer again.
Sorry, I'm here. I'm back.
Okay.
I can hear
Yes,
you now.
I can hear you. Yes.
Thank you, Supervisor Bates, for standing in.
You're
We'll go
very
on.
welcome.
We'll go on from here. The public comment period is now concluded. The next item on our agenda, next items will be, first of all, the oral reports. The first one is the COVID-19 task force update by Administrator Schaaf. Administrator Schaaf.
Thank you. And the Finance Director, Norm Kirk, is going to be joining me. The majority of the presentation this evening is going to be on some of the financials that we have been collecting regarding our ongoing operational costs and where we believe our 2020 budget will end, and the projections that we have created that go with that. We continue to work with our Health Director, Lisa Giese, and other partners within our community to respond to COVID-19 and the ongoing pandemic, as well as watching economic indicators. We work with the Economic Development Task Force. It is a community effort to respond to the needs of our business community and others. And so as we continue to work on those key initiatives, we also look at economic factors. I think one of the things that you'll hear from Director Kirk is that we're seeing a lot of potential volatility still as federal funding runs out as of December 31st in 2020. And there are many unknowns within the early part of 2021, including how the pandemic will actually affect our community economically. And so with that, I am going to turn the microphone over to Director Kirk for an update on the financials.
Okay, thank you. I will attempt to share my screen. Sam, can you let me know if you see the screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so I'm primarily really going to cover a presentation that was on the board agenda for last meeting that we didn't get to. So, you know, this would have been in your packet from the last meeting. So I point that out because the last collection date that we did for a projection was the very end of October. And so this data at this point is about, you know, approximately a month old, but I am providing a sales tax update too as well in this presentation. So we can talk about that. First thing I wanted to say is, you know, we've done these projections now about every other month roughly, and we've continued to see evolution as we've done those projections. And evolution primarily, I'll say, in what I'll call the median. So we asked the department heads to do projections of their best case, worst case. And then we have, in the last couple of projections, asked them to provide what do they believe is the most likely scenario that they would see. And this time is really not much different than the other times where the vast majority of department heads indicated that, you know, they would likely fall somewhere in between the best and worst case, somewhere along the median. What we have seen, though, with this latest projection, and I'll direct your attention to the difference in the variance in the median, was we've gone from what was a projection in early September of, and just I want one more caveat that this is really looking at the general fund, so it's not looking at the enterprise funds of highway and the airport. So just to be clear. we were projecting a median loss in the general fund of about $1.4 million in early September. This most recent update that we did about the end of October, early part of November, showed that we were going to be at a relatively break-even perspective. So that was an improvement of about $1.5 million. Now, I will say about 700,000 of that was directly related to our assumptions on sales tax, and we'll talk about that in a moment on the next slide. But the remainder of that was continued improvement that we've been seeing in a number of departments, both in terms of increase in some areas of revenue, but also continued holding of expenses and reductions in expenditures. So I think what's important to take away and noted on this slide is there's a considerable amount of uncertainty that exists. If you look at the range, if you will, between best case and worst case, it's still approximately $4 million. It's a pretty wide swing of potential possibilities at the end of October, with only 2 months remaining in the calendar year, that department heads are still seeing. So there is a lot of uncertainty that exists, not only within the context of sales tax, which we'll again talk about shortly, but also in some of the other areas. So, public charges for services, fines and forfeitures, different areas where we would get revenue. We have not seen, at least to this point, and I'm not aware of any additional losses of funding that we would see from the state or federal government at this point in terms of our normal expected revenues from grants and aids. So that's good news. So what changed from the last projection? Well, the very first thing was this projection again was done towards the end of October, and at that time we had collections of sales tax remitted to us through August time period. And at that point, we were starting to feel relatively cautiously optimistic, if you will, that sales tax was not going to be as impactful as we once thought it was going to be. And so we brought down that projection on sales tax to be a shortfall of 250,000 to 750,000. So, roughly at 500,000 if you do kind of the median. And previously we had been carrying that at about $1.2 million. So that's that difference of 700,000 of that $1.5 million swing. 700,000 of it really was directly related to a change in our assumption in sales tax. Through August, we were actually slightly ahead of where we were a year ago at that time, which it certainly was not what was expected. But again, hold that thought. We continue to see improvements in reductions in expenditures, personnel. We've seen reductions in salaries, due to continued vacancies, whether it's on the bridge plan or other mandatory and voluntary furloughs. We have some departments that have had active voluntary furloughs. And we've seen reductions in expenditures in overtime. Overtime, as an example, through the third quarter of the year is about 46% of the budget. And wages and benefits are kind of running more in the 63 to 66 kind of percent. So overall personnel costs are certainly down. We do continue to see reductions in supplies and services, mainly in general supplies, but also even on utility cost that goes with the courthouse and the other facilities that we have. And as I mentioned, we are seeing some increases in revenue projections, particularly in charges for services and fines and forfeitures. They're still showing a reduction from where they would be from a budget perspective, but they have shown some improvement over time. So I want to provide the board with a little bit of update because at the end of November, we then received our September collection, and that's where all of a sudden we saw a dramatic shift. So if you look at this report, and this is a report that I also went through with the COVID task force, the last column is just the cumulative impact of what we've called the COVID months, basically March through whatever period, so through September. The second to last column is where are we at year to date versus where we were a year ago. So if you see it in the August collection, at that point we were $74,880 better than we were a year ago. So through August, again, we were feeling like maybe we had kind of dodged a little bit of a bullet in terms of the impact of sales tax, and that maybe it was not going to be as bad. And quite honestly, the vast majority of counties were in a similar situation where they were continuing to see increases in sales tax collections above and beyond what they had anticipated. Well, lo and behold, the September collection was down dramatically. And you can see that if you look at it, 2018, 2019, we were over $1 million in sales tax collections in September. And in 2020, it was $733,000. So we were down about $325,000, which then threw us in a year-to-date reduction or year-to-date loss, if you will, relative to where we thought we were going to come in at $251,000. So I guess the takeaway really there is we've said for repeatedly over a number of months that sales tax is volatile, and this is an example of how volatile sales tax can be. And to provide some additional perspective, every one of the 72 counties experienced a decline in collections from August to September. So it wasn't just Eau Claire, it was every county. And collectively, the statewide collections were $35.7 million, which was down $10.7 million, so 23% from August. So this is a phenomenon that's hit the entire state, not just necessarily the Eau Claire County area. Every county is experiencing some of the sales tax impact. And to put a little more context, it puts the statewide collections closer to what was kind of seen in the April, May timeframe, which was early in kind of the impacts of the pandemic. So I wanted to make sure to point this out, that at a point in time when we did the projection, I think we were cautiously optimistic. I think we really have to continue to watch sales tax because it will be a swing factor. In that projection, we again had a median that we would come in $500,000 less than our budget. Right now, we're sitting at about $250,000 less than our budget with 3 months of collections to go. So I think we're going to be somewhere in that probably 500 to 750 kind of range. And if depending on how the holiday shopping season goes and some of those other things, maybe we'll see some of a rebound. But certainly September provided some pause in terms of our optimism. Then the last thing I want to cover was the routes to recovery funding. The routes to recovery funding is now complete from the state of Wisconsin. So that was the state's program to administer the federal CARES dollars. It was primarily meant to cover unbudgeted costs. We used it for cleaning supplies, decontamination equipment for the jail, a fair amount of plexiglass in departments and areas where the public would be there, touchless faucets, improvements in restroom facilities and sanitation, air handling, a number of those types of things. We had a little bit of labor, but it was predominantly, I would say, supplies and equipment related. The final submission for expenditure was just occurred in November. So the actual dollars are really there through the end of December, but the state wanted to have a reasonable amount of time to turn claims around to be able to provide the funding back. So in a recap, we got about $1.7 million in terms of our allocation. In September, I submitted $136,000. In November, at least at the time I did this slide, I thought it would be $525,000. It was closer to $500,000. So we did a little bit less than $650,000 of reimbursements. I haven't seen the November reimbursement yet. I did get an acknowledgement. I didn't get any questions, so I expect that to be coming through. And then that allowed us to transfer actually $1 million to another municipality. We have that option. We transferred it to the city to cover the health department because they had some overages and the city had already submitted all they could in terms of their CARES funding allocation. So they were able to utilize, I would say probably about $600,000. I didn't see the final number, but I'd say it's somewhere around $600,000 or $700,000 of that $1 million that we were able to pass to the city. So And that's all I have. If anyone has any questions.
Let's use the raised hand function. So if there are any questions, please raise your hand and I will call on you. I see no hands raised. Thank you, Director Kirk.
Okay, thank you.
You also have in your packet 2 written reports. One is regarding the passenger rail project submitted by Supervisor Dunning. This item will come up in resolution form in the next meeting. However, if there are any questions that you'd like to direct to Supervisor Dunning, we could take a few moments at this time. Are there any questions or comments in preparation? I see none. Thank you. And the last report is from the Finance Department, the October payments over $10,000 in the 2020 contingency fund. Any questions there? Thank you. We'll move on to section 10, reports of standing committees, commissions, and boards. Under 2.04160, second reading of ordinances, beginning with Committee on Administration, File 78.
To amend Title II, Chapter Table Administration, and to amend Chapter 2.75 County Risk Management Program.
Motion in chat. Samantha?
I haven't received any. Motion by Supervisor Hanbuck Boyle, second by Supervisor Jansen.
Thank you. Explanation, Supervisor Bates.
Thank you, Chairman Smeyer. This ordinance 078 amends Chapter 2.75 of the Table of Title II. The County Risk Management Program, which was previously managed by our Purchasing Director, Frank Draxler, since he has left now retired, has been brought up to a more current state. This amendment reflects the reorganization of the risk management program and transfers the responsibility of the director to risk manager. If you look in your material, there's an extensive amount of explanation, including the purposes that will remain pretty much so unchanged, except for the titles, and certainly a comprehensive list of the director's responsibilities, the responsibilities of the department heads, even the responsibilities of the employees, and the committees that can be formulated in order to have input on the policies and running of this particular area of government. The other part that's notable is this responsibility of measuring the risk and the losses that the county may have experienced, and of course and responsive to those, to figure out things that we can do that may change that. So I urge your support. This would come under the oversight of the Administration Committee, and the Risk Management Director does have a responsibility to the administrator. Thank you.
Chair Smeyer, this is Tim Sullivan. Can I make a comment, please?
Sure.
And just for the board's information, what you have in front of you is a copy of Chapter 2.75. The amendments are just those places within the document where there are either crossouts or underlines. Otherwise, Chapter 275 had already been in existence in the code, and we're just changing those places that there was reference to a director, primarily to risk manager, and changing references to the program so it's consistent with the risk management program. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or is there any discussion? I see no hands raised. Therefore, I will assume that we could proceed to the vote. Clerk Loomis, I'd like to do this vote roll call,
Okay, are you ready for it then?
please.
This is on file 78. A yes is in support of this ordinance. No is not in support of 78. Supervisor Gibson,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Knight, Supervisor Knight,
Yes, sorry.
Supervisor Pagonis,
Yes.
Pagonis,
Yes.
thank you. Supervisor Anton, Zook,
Yes.
Chilson, Stelgis,
Yes.
Maori,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Henning,
Yes.
Bates, Supervisor Bates,
Yes.
thank you. Russell,
Yes.
Gatlin,
Yes.
Smyer,
Yes,
Hambuck Boyle,
Yes. Yes.
Neiman,
Yes.
Dunning,
Yes.
Wilkie,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Beckfield,
Yes.
Schneider, Supervisor Schneider,
Yes.
thank you. Leary,
Yes.
DeLuca, Jansen,
Yes.
Schroffnagel,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Cronk,
Yes.
Christopherson.
Yes.
29 yeses, 0 nos.
is unanimous. Thank you. Next is file 85.
Requesting the Wisconsin State Legislature to convene a special session to provide COVID-19 direction for the state of Wisconsin.
Motion,
Motion by Supervisor Maury, second by Supervisor Leary.
thank you. Explanation, Supervisor Bates again.
Thank you, Chair Smyer. As the board is well aware, there is a patchwork of responses to the COVID-19 issue throughout the state of Wisconsin. This particular resolution asks that we have the Wisconsin legislature convene to provide a more unified approach throughout the state for townships, municipalities, and counties. And obviously, without this same type of patchwork will continue. And I think it also means that counties like Eau Claire County could really prove that they have gone the extraordinary length to request this guidance from the state. So hopefully this may encourage them to have the session and do just exactly that. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions or discussion? Supervisor Wilkie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to give acknowledgement to Supervisor Roberts, who is the one that brought it before this board. You can see that from his fact sheet. This was unanimously approved in Administration Committee on a 5-0 vote. Many people in our county, our state, and our nation have been touched by COVID. Myself personally, as I shared in admin, had 2 family members, close family members, one who ended in the hospital for a number of days. And thank God and thank the good doctors of Mayo, the nurses, he survived it. Unfortunately, my brother's mother-in-law passed away from COVID. So I think now that we've all been in some way or another personally touched and the election is over, hopefully as my retired nurse wife has told me many times, this is not a political issue, it's a medical issue. And what Supervisor Roberts' resolution is trying to do here is to give a loud and clear message that we need to start working together in a unified way to address this medical issue. So again, thank you, Supervisor Roberts, for bringing it forward. We did receive communication from our administrator and our board chair just recently where we're at as Eau Claire County. And I think this resolution is consistent with what just recently the state has said as far as blue stripes and red stripes beginning to pull together. I hope that in fact continues to happen and this resolution reinforces it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Other question or discussion? I see no hands raised. We'll proceed to a vote. Clerk Loomis, I think it's important that we show the vote for anything that we do by request of the members of the public. So I'm going to ask for a roll call vote again on this item.
Okay, this is on file 85, requesting the state legislature to convene a special session to provide COVID-19 direction. Yes vote is in support of that, and no vote is against that. Supervisor Gibson.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Knight.
Yes.
Pagonis.
Yes.
Anton. Supervisor Anton. I will go on, and if Supervisor Anton comes on, let me know. Zook.
Yes.
Supervisor Zook.
Yes.
Chilson.
Yes.
Stelgis.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
Supervisor Maury.
Yes.
Thank you. Coffee.
Yes.
Henning.
Yes. Yes.
Bates.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Gatlin.
Yes.
Smyer.
Yes.
Hambick Boyle.
Yes.
Neiman.
Yes.
Dunning.
Yes.
Wilkie.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Beckfield.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Leary.
Yes.
DeLuca.
Yes.
Jansen.
Yes.
Schroffnagel.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Cronk.
Yes.
Christopherson.
Yes.
And Supervisor Anton, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Hear
Oh,
me?
how would you like to vote?
Yes.
Thank you. That's unanimous, 29 yeses.
Thank you. The next item from the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport Commission, file 95.
Granting a utility easement to Northern States Power Company at the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport.
Motion?
Henning will move.
Okay. Supervisor Henning moves. Second? We've abandoned the other method. That's okay. Moved and seconded. Background information, Supervisor Stelzis.
Yes, thank you, Chair Smyer. So this first item, number 95 here, is a simple utility easement. There's a new house being constructed near the airport. The shortest way for the utility company to provide power to that new home is by tapping into a utility box that sits on the airport property. The easement would run a few feet on airport property and then under the road to service the new house. And in compensation, the county, or I'm not sure whether it's the county or the airport, would get the standard $500 fee for granting that utility easement. No disruption to any operation in the airport at all. So I would recommend approval.
Thank you. Questions or discussion? Okay, we'll proceed to a roll call vote.
This is on file 95, granting a utility easement to Northern States Power Company at the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport. A yes is in favor of that resolution and no is against. Supervisor Gibson.
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Knight,
Yes.
Pagonis,
Yes.
Anton, Zook,
Yes.
Chilson,
Yes.
Stelgis,
Yes.
Maori,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Henning,
Yes.
Bates,
Yes.
Russell, Supervisor Russell,
Yes.
Gatlin,
Yes.
Smyer,
Yes.
Hambic Boyle,
Yes.
Neiman,
Yes.
Dunning,
Yes.
Wilkie,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Beckfield,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Leary,
Yes.
DeLuca,
Yes.
Jansen,
Yes.
Schroffnagel,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Cronk,
Yes.
Christofferson.
Yes.
29 yeses, 0 nos.
Thank you. Next is file 82.
Ratifying and affirming the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport Commission petition for the Airport Improvement Aid dated October 16th, 2020.
Motion?
Beckfield moves.
I'm sorry. Was that Supervisor Beckfield?
Yes, sir.
Second by Supervisor Gatlin.
Thank you. You completely abandoned the other method, but that's okay. We have a motion and a second. Background explanation, Supervisor Stelzis again.
Yes, thank you. Okay, as you all remember, we addressed this item, I believe it was at our last meeting, during which we agreed to proceed with another public hearing on this issue, which has taken place. I believe all that information is now contained in the updated information in our packet here. I would like, you also heard public comment from 2 other commissioners endorsing the support for this project. I think the commission has made an effort to address all the concerns that were raised during the public hearings and also some of those that were expressed perhaps during our last meeting. After all that consideration, the commission did again vote unanimously to proceed with this resolution, and the county's action here is really just ratifying the decision that the commission has taken, and that would allow us to go ahead and engage the state as a construction agent for any work that might take place. If there are further questions, I believe that Charity is also on if we want to get into the details, but I hope they've all been addressed up to this point. So I would request your affirmative vote on this.
I believe Commission Chairperson Hilgedick may also be online. Questions to discussion? Supervisor DeLuca.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to double check. I know that the thoughts are to put the corporate hangar on the north side. And if that is not feasible with the tenant agreement, then I'm just wanted to find out, is the other option to only do small hangars on the south side and not a corporate hangar on the south side?
Supervisor Stelzis.
Okay. That is my understanding, but I would defer to Charity if she wants to chime in and confirm that.
Charity?
Good evening. So there are multiple hangars shown on the sketch, and so the intent would be to move on to, if we're not successful with the north corporate hangar, move on to one of the other hangars that is depicted.
But I think the concern is, would a large corporate hangar be considered on the south side, or would they be the smaller ones only?
I can't answer for sure what would be the next opportunity. There are, multiple hangars shown on there. The goal would certainly be to, as the commission chair mentioned, keep the larger aircraft to the north side of the airport.
Supervisor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you. So I do notice, made note that the commissioners spoke about reaching out, and I will agree that the reach out to the community was much better the second time. It was much easier for people to attend. I do feel, and I had asked at one point in time, for all of the Zone 1 properties that are surrounding the airport to receive very specific notice of the public hearing, and that did not seem feasible. But what I would like to request is that we have a master plan coming up soon, which for the airport, and I would request that all those people that are in that Zone 1, that the planning development holds that list of 273 homes, should receive some kind of postcard or notice so they can come to that master plan update and share their concerns. But I do appreciate the fact that second hearing was held and, people had an opportunity to speak. At this point in time, I'm not supporting this, mainly because the master plan does allow for corporate hangars to go to the south side and not just to the north side. So I will be voting no on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other supervisor wishing to speak? I see no hands raised. We'll now, excuse me. We'll now proceed to the roll call vote.
The roll call vote is on file 82, affirming the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport petition for airport improvement aid. Yes vote would be in favor of it. A no vote is against it. Supervisor Gibson.
Yes.
McKinney. Knight.
Yes.
Pagonis.
Yes.
Anton.
Yes.
Zook.
Yes. Yes.
Stelgis.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
Coffee. Henning. Supervisor Henning.
Yes.
Bates.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Gatlin.
Yes.
Smyer.
Yes.
Hambick Boyle.
Yes.
Neiman.
Yes.
Dunning.
Yes.
Wilkie.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Beckfield.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Leary.
Yes.
DeLuca.
No.
Jansen.
Yes.
Schraffnagel.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Kronk.
Yes.
Christopherson.
Yes.
28 yeses, 1 no.
The motion passes. Thank you. Next, from the Committee on Human Resources, file 21.
File 86, Chair Smyer.
Oh, I'm sorry, 86.
Apologies. To ratify a labor agreement between Eau Claire County and the Wisconsin Professional Police Association Law Enforcement Employee Relations Division for the non-supervisory unit effective January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2023. Authorizing the chair of the county board, the chair of the Committee on Human Resources, and the county administrator to execute said contract on behalf of Eau Claire County.
Motion?
Motion by Supervisor Gatlin.
Second?
Schneider.
Oh, it has been motioned and seconded. Explanation, Supervisor Beckfield.
Thank you, Chair. First off, I want to thank the staff, Tim especially, Jess, Norb, and their team from the administration on helping us through this. Secondly, I do want to say that the union negotiation team was outstanding, and I want to thank them for their cooperative effort and doing a great job. And the HR team, I want to thank my members that showed up repeatedly for many hours of additional time, but we got it done. Something we only do every 2 or 3 years, and it takes a bit of work. And lastly, I want to thank the officers that are helping keep this county safe. They're an outstanding group of people, and it's a tough job. And they do a lot, and they don't sometimes get praised for it enough. So I think that leaves it. Questions to put towards, if you have any, to Tim Sullivan. He's the best one to answer any contractual question. Thank you all. That's all I have to say.
Questions or discussion? I see no hands raised. We will proceed to a roll call vote.
This is on file 86 to ratify a labor agreement between the Wisconsin Professional Police Association and the Division for Non-Supervisory Unit. A yes vote means you're in support of this resolution, and no is against 86. Supervisor Gibson.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. McKinney?
Yes.
Knight?
Yes.
Pagonis?
Yes.
Anton?
Yes.
Zook?
Yes.
Chilson?
Yes.
Stelgis?
Yes.
Maury?
Yes.
Coffee?
Yes.
Henning?
Yes.
Bates?
He said yes.
Bates? That was Larry though. Okay. Russell?
Yes.
Yes. Supervisor Gatlin says yes.
Thank you. Smyer?
Yes.
Hambick Boyle?
Yes.
Neiman?
Yes.
Dunning? Wilkie?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Beckfield?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes. Yes.
Leary?
Yes.
DeLuca?
Yes.
Jansen?
Yes.
Schroffnagel?
Yes.
Roberts?
Yes.
Cronk?
Unfortunately, I couldn't raise my hand in time, so I have to vote no. I had a question, so thank you, no.
And Christopherson?
Yes.
Okay, it's 28 yeses, 1 no.
Thank you. Supervisors, if you do have a problem with raising your hand, just speak out. Not sure what the problem is, but we'll try to resolve it and make sure that everyone has the opportunity to speak to the motion. So we'll proceed now to Committee on Planning and Development, File 79.
Requesting that the governor and the Wisconsin State Legislature allocates $15 million annually for grants to public safety answering points through the Police and Fire Protection Fund for the upgrade and maintenance of equipment to support the transition to a digital next generation 9/11. Requesting the governor and the Wisconsin State Legislature to support the Department of Military Affairs budget request to continue to build of the ESAnet for an annual appropriation for the ongoing maintenance of the system.
Motion?
Henning will move.
Thank you. Supervisor Henning moves.
Second by Humbach Boyle.
Second by Humbach Boyle. Background explanation, Supervisor Gibson.
Thank you, Chairman Smyer. This resolution is quite detailed, so I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I would hope that everybody read it. Basically, this urges the legislation to allocate $15 million annually for grants that are related to public safety through the police and fire. The governor. This also further the governor and legislature to support the Department of Military Affairs because they've been involved with a lot of emergency services. It could be a physical impact of roughly about $250,000 per county. So if anybody has any questions or anything on this, I believe our director, Rod Esslinger, is online. He could probably answer any questions related to this.
Thank you. Supervisor Dunning, followed by Supervisor DeLuca.
Gives us something to do this week.
Supervisor Dunning.
My hand was raised for the last motion. I guess I forgot to remove it.
Thank you. Supervisor DeLuca, is your hand raised for this?
Yes, it is.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it's moving forward to this next gen 911, and thinking of the worst case scenario, if we don't get any state funding and they move forward, how soon will the county be impacted with the cost of that $250,000? Do we know? Is it going to be in 2021? Is it going to be later on?
Yep. Good evening. I think everybody can hear me. Everybody can just nod. This is Rod Esslinger. Okay, perfect. So that's a great question. And so this is, we're in the early stages of this process, and this is a statewide process. And at the end the end goal here is to have all PSAPs, the public safety answering systems, or the comm centers, updated by the end of 2024. So if you look at that, so you can anticipate some of this planning to start happening over the next several years. We've actually been engaged in the gap analysis, the GIS gap analysis. So the Department of Military Affairs has reviewed our data because that really is the platform for this whole program. This EZNet update is that it's to standardize the GIS data sets across the state of Wisconsin to build redundancy within the system, which will help improve overall call routing. So basically, you should never, with this next gen 911 system, you should never get a busy signal no matter where you are. Basically if the circuits are busy in one county, it just kicks you over to the next county, and it's because it's the standardized system. Those calls that are received in those PSAPs will just automatically go to the system that is a very standardized system. So they'll have access to our fire, law, EMS, first responders, and they'll be able to route the most quickest and fastest route to get to the individuals. So that the impacts that we could be feeling this is in the next several years. So Supervisor DeLuca, I hope that was a kind of a long and roundabout answer, but I just wanted to make sure that I got some other background information in there for you and for the board for that matter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Supervisor Cronk, I think. Supervisor Cronk.
Yes, thank you. I was curious, and I'm not sure if anybody can answer this question, but about almost all the way down the page on page 30, it says that the state has provided grant funding for counties in the past However, it looks like that was reabsorbed and not spent for its intended purposes. Do we know why or what that was utilized for? Do we have any idea? I was trying to look up some background online and I really wasn't getting much information.
Supervisor Kronk, I don't have that answer, but I definitely could dig into that tomorrow and provide that back to the board.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Schneider with a question.
Supervisor Schneider.
Do you have any estimate of likelihood that we'll have to pay the bill ourselves?
We have had a brief discussion on that. It is anticipated that there'll be some expense, and that's the other part of this proposal, is that we have to look at the our current agreement and contracts that we have with the city, comm center, and because that is a collaboration of maintenance and you know who covers, because it's kind of, there's some shared responsibilities between the city of Eau Claire and the Eau Claire County, and how much is covered by those expenses. So I'm going to say that there is anticipated expenses, but I cannot give you what those would be at this time, because we really have to go back and revisit the comp center agreements that have been in place for. Mr. Sullivan could probably help me out a little bit. He helped me locate those, but for 20 plus years, I believe, going back quite a ways. So, and this will help us update those and really start to look at the allocation of those funding streams there.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion?
I just have a question, please, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Bates.
Thank you. I'm wondering, as we look at this, is this the Department of Military Affairs budget, is that a state department or is that a federal department?
Hello? Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So that part of that is with the state, and I believe that is also funded through the federal government.
So follow-up question, does the federal government contribute any financial support for this network?
I don't believe so. This is coming out of the state police and fire protection fund.
Thank
primarily.
You. Thank you.
I'm not aware of any funding from the federal government.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? We'll now proceed to the roll call vote.
The roll call is on file 79, requesting the governor of the Wisconsin State Legislature to allocate $15 million annually for grants, and that's regarding the next generation 911 system. A yes vote, it means you're in support of this resolution. No vote is you are against. Supervisor Gibson.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Knight.
Yes. Yes.
Pagonis.
Yes. Yes.
Anton.
Yes.
Supervisor Anton.
Yes.
Zook.
Yes.
Chilson. Supervisor Chilson.
Yes.
Stelgis. Maury.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Supervisor Coffey.
Yes.
Henning.
Yes. Yes.
Said yes.
Bates,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Gatlin,
Yes.
Smyer,
Yes.
Hambuck Boyle,
Yes.
Neiman,
Yes.
Dunning,
Yes.
Supervisor Dunning,
Yes.
Wilkie,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Beckfield,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Leary,
Yes.
DeLuca,
Yes.
Jansen,
Yes.
Schroffnagel,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Christofferson.
Yes.
29 yeses, 0 nos.
Thank you. The last item on our agenda is appointments. What you have in the memo is the last 4 members of the Library Planning Committee to be appointed. And the chair asks for a vote of confirmation. So could we have a motion, please?
Schneider.
Schneider moves to affirm the appointment. Second,
Maury seconds.
Maury seconds. Thank you. To save time and effort, we'll do this by a voice vote. I don't think it's going to be controversial. So, all those in favor of the appointments of Mildred Arson, Dan Hanson, Doug Kranig, and Jamie Littlefair, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you. All those opposed by nay. It is unanimous. Thank you. We've reached the end of our agenda. Supervisors, thank you very much for your patience with the process. And we will see you all again on December the 15th. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.